Yeah, we can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I appear before your committee this morning to submit the 2024 memorandum on the report of CDF to your committee, Chair, based on the findings or observations of the Auditor General for the financial year ended 31st December 2024 for Livingstone City Council. Chair, with your indulgence already granted, we proceed to query number A, which is on page 1 of the addendum, delayed implementation of projects. Chair, the cause of the query is that as a management, we acknowledge the observation of the Auditor General and wish to clarify that the query arose due to the frequent breakdown of road construction equipment. Chair, the breakdowns disrupted scheduled operations and reduced the efficiency of the available fleet, thereby affecting the timely execution of planned works in some wards. By way of action taken, Chair, management wishes to state that the works have since been completed in 7 of the highlighted wards, while works are in progress for Dr. Mubitana ward, which is pending 2 kilometers of graveling and compacting. Chair, project reports to that effect are attached, and the table, as stipulated below, shows the status of our progress in terms of the highlighted projects as observed by Auditor General. Chair, we currently stand at 95%, with Dr. Mwitana ward standing at 65% of completion. As a remedial measure, Chair, management has attended to the procurement of an additional tipper truck to supplement the current fleet of road equipment. Additionally, Chair, we will be lobbying for procurement of more equipment for roadworks and waste management from various sources of funding like the CDF. Chair, Appendix 1 as attached to the addendum refers in this regard. With your indulgence, I will proceed, Chair, to page 3 of the main report that was submitted before. And query B is on the implementation of youth, women, and community empowerment. Chair, the query there is on the fraudulent payment of grants into personal bank accounts. The cause of the query, Chair, management acknowledges the observation of the Auditor General and wishes to advise that the cause of the query arose when an officer assigned to prepare instruction letters to the bank did not include or indicate the account numbers for 11 empowerment groups, but instead alternate numbers belonging to private members or persons, thereby resulting in non-payment to the empowerment groups. Action taken by management is that we attended to reporting the matter to Zambia Police on suspicion of fraud, and all suspects have since been arrested and charged. Chair, the case is currently before the court for possible prosecution. Additionally, the officer has since been suspended from work pending the conclusion of the matter in court. In this regard, Chair, we submit the documents as indicated on Appendix 2. As a remedial measure, Chair, Council has enhanced its internal control systems by ensuring that all internal memoranda generated by end users indicates beneficiaries' accounts and name. Chair, on page 4, we move to section B, which are cross-cutting audit findings. Cause of the query, this is on Appendix 1, budget and funding. Cause of the query, management acknowledges the observation of the Auditor General and wishes to advise us that the variance of 9,935,642 arose due to the Ministry of Finance and National Planning not providing full funding to the Council in the year under review. As an action taken, management made follow-ups to the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to request for the release of the undisbursed funds, and the Ministry responded that the funding will be done in 2 phases. In this regard, Chair, we refer your committee to Appendix 3. As a remedial measure, Chair, we undertake to continue engaging our ministry to ensure timely release of funds so that projects can be implemented within the fiscal year. On page 5, Chair, Appendix 1.1, the cross-cutting finding of retained funds. Cause of query, Chair, we had advised that we acknowledge the Auditor General's observation and wish to state that despite funds being retained at source, the local authority is yet to receive the ambulance. As an action taken, Chair, management wishes to state that a written follow-up was submitted to the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Chair, in this regard, we refer your committee to Appendix 4. And as a remedial measure, we will always endeavor to communicate with our parent ministry regarding the reduction of retained funds at source. The next query, Chair, is on page 6, Appendix 2.1, total unspent funds under community projects. Cause of query, Chair, is that we acknowledge the Auditor General's observation and we wish to report that 19,404,026 kwacha 6 tengwe was spent against a total funding of 21,135,735 kwacha. Chair, this includes balances brought forward of 16,309 kwacha 61 kwacha. 309,061 kwacha, thus leaving a balance of 1,731 kwacha 731,708 kwacha 14 ngwe as unspent funds as indicated in the table. Chair, as an action taken, we have since attended to spending the reconciled and spent funds as at 30th April 2025, and we wish to refer your committee to Appendix 5. And as a remedial measure, we will endeavor to always spend funds within the fiscal year. Appendix 2.2, total unspent funds empowerment grants. Chair, we wish to advise as a cause of query that we acknowledge the auditor's observation and advise that the over expenditure arose due to funds fraudulently dispersed into personal accounts as submitted under Appendix 2 above. As an action taken, we wish to report that further to the action taken under Appendix 2, the Council is currently waiting for the conclusion of the matter before court. As a remedial measure, management will endeavor to ensure that internal controls are fully complied with in accordance with the Public Finance Management Act, as well as other relevant regulatory legislations. Appendix 2.3, total unspent funds, secondary boarding and skills development. Management wishes to advise to your committee that we acknowledge the auditor's observation and wish to state that the query was as a result of unspent funds of 1,038,903 kwacha meant for learners who, Chair, unfortunately did not report for school, and as such the funding was carried forward to the 2025 bursary allocation. Chair, as an action taken, we wish to state that the funds carried forward were allocated to new learners in 2025, and further, Chair, that the funds under the query have since been spent, and refer your committee to Appendix 6. As a remedial measure, Chair, we will always endeavor to strengthen beneficiary confirmation procedures by ensuring that funds are only released after learners have formally reported to school, and will enhance monitoring and timely reallocation of unutilized funds to avoid future reoccurrences. Appendix 2.4, total unspent funds under the loans component. Chair, as a cause of query, we acknowledge the auditor's observation and wish to report that the unspent funds of 1,022,501 kwacha as at 31st December 2024 represents loan repayments made by beneficiaries of the soft loan scheme. Chair, these funds were awaiting approval from the CDFC for reallocation to other beneficiaries. As an action taken, management wishes to state that the approval has since been secured from the Constituency Development Fund Committee, as well as from the Provincial Local Government Office, and funds have since been disbursed to new applicants under the CDF 2025 allocation. Chair, Appendix 7 refers, and as a remedial measure, we will always endeavor to disburse loan recoveries to new applicants within the financial year. Appendix 2.5, total unspent funds administrative component. The cause of the query, Chair, is that we acknowledge the observation of the Auditor General and wish to clarify that the query arose from unspent funds allocated for monitoring and inspection of the 2024 CDF ongoing projects. Chair, we wish to submit the table just below the cause of query. As an action taken, we wish to report that a reconciliation was undertaken on the administrative cost component, and all the funds have since been utilized. Appendix 8 refers. As a remedial measure, Chair, management will always endeavor to timely communicate with the Office of the Auditor General during the audit process so as to avoid future occurrences. Appendix 3, Community Projects Chair. The cause of the query is as indicated in the table below. With your indulgence, Chair, I will submit it as such that in 2023, the 3 suppliers, the cause of the query was that they failed to deliver the full consignment of desks. As an action taken, Chair, for the 2023 consignment, Chair, those desks have since been delivered. For 2024, serial number 1 and number 2, the cause of query, Chair, was delayed funding. And with respect to serial number 1 and number 2, action taken, Chair, these projects have since been completed, commissioned, and handed over. For the road grading, graveling, and of Chitimukulu Road in Dambwa Central Ward, Chair, the cause of query was the inadequacy of road equipment, and in taking action, Chair, this project has since been completed and commissioned. On page 11, Chair, serial numbers 4 and 5, also to do with road grading and graveling. The cause of the query, Chair, was inadequacy of road equipment, and by way of taking action, these projects have stood completed and commissioned. 6 and 7 under 2024, Chair, the cause of the query was delayed funding. However, Chair, these projects have also been completed, commissioned, and handed over. On the outstanding projects, Chair, we have 9, of which 7 stand completed and commissioned, with only works pending in Dr. Muvitana Ward, that is serial number 2. And the last one, being the 9th one on the table, Chair, is on the supply and delivery of an ambulance. And we are indicating that a written follow-up has been made with our parent ministry, and in this regard, we refer your committee to Appendix 1 as well as Appendix 4. As a remedial measure, Chair, management will always endeavor to improve the implementation efficiency of CDF projects in general and of road projects in particular by lobbying for the procurement of more equipment for roadworks from various funding sources, including the Constituency Development Fund. Chair, Appendix 3.1 is on the analysis of performance of desks. As a cause of query, we wish to indicate before your committee that we acknowledge the observation made by the auditors and wish to state that the cause of query was due to the failure by earlier engaged suppliers to deliver the full consignment of desks. By way of taking action, we wish to state before your committee that the contracts for suppliers who failed to deliver their allocation of desks were terminated, the balance was retendered, and new suppliers were engaged to supply the balance of desks. Chair, the desks have since been supplied in full, and we refer your committee to Appendix 9. As a remedial measure, Chair, we will always endeavor to conduct due diligence, especially regarding the capacity of contractors and suppliers before contract award. Page 13, Chair, on Appendix 4, failure to operationalize completed facilities. Cause of the query, we acknowledge the observation of the Auditor General and wish to report that the delay to operationalize the police post was due to absence of furniture in the completed facility. This, Chair, was because the furniture was being procured on a separate contract of supply and delivery. Chair, I wish to inform your committee that following the procurement of the required furniture, the facility has since been commissioned and handed over to Zambia Police Service and is now fully functional. Appendix 10 refers. As a remedial measure, management will always ensure that going forward, contracts will include other auxiliary items such as furniture for facilities, so that required furniture is procured in time and facilities are ready for operation upon handover by the contractor. Appendix 6 is on the Youth and Women Empowerment Grant Performance Analysis. Chair, as a cause of query, we wish to acknowledge the auditor's observation and wish to advise that the over-expenditure arose due to funds fraudulently dispersed to a personal account as submitted under Appendix 2 above. Action taken is that the matter, further to the action taken under Appendix 2, the Council is currently waiting for the conclusion of the case by the courts of law. As a remedial measure, we will always endeavor to undertake due diligence before any payment is made, Chair. Appendix 6.1, unaccounted for empowerment grants. Chair, we wish to acknowledge the auditor's observation and state that the cause of query was that at the time of the audit, the club did not show how the grant money was utilized. As an action taken, we wish to report that the club has since provided records indicating how it utilized the funds. Appendix 11 refers. As a remedial measure, we will always endeavor to enhance monitoring of the recipients of empowerment funds in order to provide support to these clubs where necessary. Appendix 7.2, failure to recover loans, cause of query. Chair, as a management, we acknowledge the auditor's observation and wish to state that the cause of the query was as a result of non-compliance by loan beneficiaries of the revolving loan funds in meeting their loan repayment obligations as outlined in the terms and conditions of the agreement. Chair, by way of taking action, we wish to submit that as at 31st January 2026, the Council had recovered the sum of 1,551,918 kwacha 33 ingwe from loan beneficiaries, leaving an outstanding balance of 3,907,801 kwacha 24 ingwe. Chair, we are working closely with the bank and continue to obtain monthly repayment reports in order to effectively monitor and track loan performance. In addition, management has been formally communicating with defaulting loan beneficiaries, urging them to regularize their accounts and fulfill their loan obligations. Furthermore, a meeting was organized with loan defaulters to emphasize compliance requirements and to outline the consequences of failing to meet loan obligations in accordance with the loan agreement. We wish to refer the committee to Appendix 12. As a remedial measure, management will continue making every effort to educate both current and prospective loan beneficiaries on the importance of timely repayment of revolving loan funds. Chair, where all other measures fail, as a last resort, management will commence legal action against non-compliant loan beneficiaries. Appendix 8, Chair, is on bursary performance analysis. Cause of query, we acknowledge the auditor's observation and wish to state that the query was attributable to, firstly, Chair, unspent funds amounting to 1,038,903 on skills bursaries due to students who did not report for school under the 2024 bursary allocation. Chair, this funding was carried forward to 2025 bursary allocation. Chair, secondly, some learners were registered in long-term training programs with expected completion dates in 2025 and 2026. Chair, these learners will complete in 2026 and are expected to graduate in 2020. Completed in 2025 and are expected to graduate this year, Chair. Action taken. I wish to report that the carried forward funds were allocated to new learners in 2025 and that the funds amounting to 1,038,903 have since been spent. We wish to refer the committee to Appendix 6 and wish to indicate that as a remedial measure, management will always endeavor to strengthen beneficiary confirmation procedures by ensuring that funds are only released after learners have formally reported to school. Chair, we will also further enhance monitoring and timely reallocation of unutilized funds and further continue to adhere to CDF guidelines to avoid further reoccurrences. Appendix 9 is on unaccounted stores. Chair, we acknowledge the auditor's observation and wish to state that the query arose due to the delay in availing the same during the time of the audit, non-availability of some disposal documents on some activities at the time of the audit. Chair, action taken is that we have undertaken to assign a specific officer to always ensure that disposal details are in order. We also wish to state that, Chair, the disposal records are available, and in saying so, we refer your committee to Appendix 13. Chair, as a remedial measure, we will always endeavor to ensure that all supporting documents are availed during the time of the audit. Chair, by way of conclusion, I wish to assure the committee that the remedial measures that have been submitted to the committee will be implemented and reviewed for further improvement. I beg to submit, Chair. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk, for that wonderful presentation. Honorable members, it's now time to interact with the Council, but before we do that, as Town Clerk and your team, we were joined by our Honorable Member for Kalulushi. Maybe I can ask her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, colleagues. Livingstone, you are welcome. My name is Kampamba Mlenga. I am Member of Parliament for the good people of Kalulushi on the Copper Belt. Livingstone, you're welcome.
Honorable Member for Mufumbwe, you can start.
Thank you, Chairperson. I take you to page 7, Appendix 2.3. Total unspent funds, secondary boarding and skills development. Chair, we have an amount of 1,038,903, which was meant for the learners for secondary boarding and skills development, which remained unspent in Livingstone City Council. I just have some few questions to ask. Whether in Livingstone they don't have, after approval by CDFC, if they don't remain with those, the excess that could not have had chance, the pupils who are going to boarding secondary schools and also skills development, whether they didn't have any access, those who could have actually not managed to go through, who were not considered, who were on the pending list, if they were not there. That is number one, if they were not there. Number two, why did Livingstone Council, why did they wait until the following year, keeping this money in the account, other than reallocating these monies to other need areas? Thank you.
Thank you, Town Clerk. You can take those two.
Thank you, Chair. In responding to the query or the question for clarity by Honorable Kamondo, I will begin, and where I leave out, I will request through you, Chair, that the Assistant Director City Planning may just add on. Chair, by way of response, I wish to indicate through you to Honorable Kamondo as well as to the rest of the members of the committee that the applications from learners or students for CDF bursaries has been overwhelming over the years. And definitely, Chair, we can confirm that for Livingstone, there are those of our students that would have applied, and because of the limitation of the fund, did not go through. With regard to why we allowed the delay in the expenditure of those funds that remained unspent, Chair, the short version of the explanation is that as a management, we didn't manage time quite well, such that by the time Auditor General came to verify or check the operations for 2024, that money remained unspent. However, as submitted before committee this morning, that money has since been spent by way of being rolling over to 2025. I submit, Chair, at this point.
Okay, maybe a short one. You said that the applications were overwhelming on the part of the council, meaning that there are so many of our students who wanted to get that favor, and yet the monies were not spent. Why did the council not pick those who were on the pending list so that they can be paid? Because that money was meant for them. We believe that we are told that there was money that was not spent at that time. Why didn't you pick those on the pending list to pay for them? That is the question.
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, that is an accurate observation. I will seek your indulgence to ask the City Planning Director just to add on.
Director, City Planning.
Thank you very much, Chair. So in terms of the school bursaries, at the time of the approval, probably what could have contributed to that is that we conduct a head count to ensure that payments are made to all those that report. And according to the school calendars of the various institutions where they apply, they normally have, at the time that we're doing the head count, we could have found that the calendar for that semester came to an end. However, we did have a second batch of approval. So we normally conduct a second batch of approval, which we submitted to the ministry. So we had an addition of about 80 students that were approved after.
Honorable Kamondo. Follow-up.
Thank you. Yes, just a follow-up. Chairperson, you are aware you have a constituency that you represent, as well as mine and the other honorable members. The skills development and also secondary school bursaries, like it was confirmed by the what?
The town clerk.
The town clerk. Indeed, actually, this is overwhelming. There is always a backlog, and people are still waiting. I was comforted by her. She said, we didn't do a good job in that one. I think they delayed. So my appeal is that maybe we can do better to make sure that when the head count should be done slightly earlier, because there is a group of people that are in their need of the same facility, but they are delayed up to the following year. I think this one we could have done better than this. Maybe the only thing that I'll say that going forward, I think we should be proactive other than actually wait until we do the head count. Because we might just be delayed by people that are not serious, when the most vulnerable people are delayed forever until the following year. I think that's what I wanted to say. But on top of that, let me just add another question, which is also related to the same.
Okay.
In terms of the loans, I find that it is almost the same, because this is a revolving fund. And when you look at the loans, actually, like this year, we don't have actually the amount coming from the ministry. But we have been told to use the available funds so that the applicants can get the monies and then use it. But we find here also there is an amount which is quite significant, also another 1 million. If it was given to the people, I think they could have benefited and some interest could have been generated. Why didn't you give it to the people other than waiting for the following year, and that is when you're going to give? Also, the same question comes, don't you have others who are on the pending list so that they can be saved other than waiting until the following year?
Town clerk.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to acknowledge the guidance or the counsel that Honorable Kamondo has given, and also maybe just to give some feedback and comfort to the committee that for 2026 learners, the component of skills, management has already undertaken the head count, and as we sit, Chair, we are concluding a report to the CDF committee to advise on what we found when we went out to monitor and verify. So we are expectant that by the time we close April, we'll have a position as to those learners who are not spoken for during the head count. So thank you for that, Council. On the loans, as regarding the revolving fund, Chair, yes, the process may not have been at the desirable pace. However, I wish to inform the committee that the amount as observed as unspent at the end of 2024, Chair, this amount has since been dispersed, and management has been engaging those who got loans in terms of them paying back the installments. Chair, we have brought before your committee evidence to support these engagements, as well as the updated status on the compliance, Chair. This is on one of our appendices. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, on the loans, I've noticed that I think this is the third council I've seen on the loans. I don't know the figure, but I know for the period 1 to 24 months, there was no recovery. Is it on page what? Page 15. We go to page 15. Yeah, when you go to page 15, failure to recover loans, you see the schedule there down. According to the report, at the time of audit, which was somewhere in 2025, they were auditing the period January to December 2024. But according to this report, which I want to read, is that for 83 recipients of monies totaling 7,737,835. 83 people were given this amount. Default period, 1 to 24 months. If you read that, Town Clerk, you find that 1 to 24 months, it is 2 years. And the expected loan repayment for 2024 only was 2,653,204. Amount repaid new, and recovered amounts 2,653,204. When you read such a report, for us, it's a very serious indicator that there is a problem at the council. You're not doing much. Not even much. You're not doing anything. So when you are looking at this report, in your quarterly meetings, you're supposed to have quarterly meetings to review how all these areas of the CDF are performing. What comes to you, Town Clerk, when you see such a report? Is the director planning, doing city planning, doing a job? Are we heeding to the instructions and guidance from government? Can we have an explanation?
Thank you, Chair. I wish to indicate that...
Just before you do that, there is a request that he augments what I've just said.
Just in addition, Chairperson, the figure indeed is alarming. So other than what you have submitted, maybe you want to get more information on the measures that actually have put, especially the finance department, because when you look at their account, it's not performing, it's not doing very fine. So from the account department, in conjunction with their city planning, do you have measures that you feel you have put in place to work around this figure, to reduce this figure, or to make sure that we don't go beyond what we have seen?
Town Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. I wish to indicate that the concerns from the committee are noted, and Also, just to submit that we have not stood idle. Even when the picture looks as it does, there's some action that we've taken. Chair, I wish to refer the committee to Appendix 12 and particularly the document sitting on page 282, all the way up to page 290. Chair, you will note that 282 to 290, these are minutes of what we are calling a CDF fund loan review meeting. This meeting was held on Wednesday, 3rd April 2025. Chair, you will also note that other documents there are letters to different loan recipients, inviting them for this meeting. Chair, additionally, you will see that on page 273 up to 281, similarly, these are letters to loan recipients. Further, Chair, on 274, in line with the Treasury Financial Management Circular, particularly clause 4.7, we wrote to our banker in terms of asking them or really encouraging them to come on board to fulfill their role as provided for under clause 4.7. So, Chair, all these are examples of the action that management has taken. Though the feedback may not be at the desired rate, Chair, we have indicated in our response that we'll continue to engage our loan recipients, and at a very last resort, where worst comes to worst, Chair, we may consider pursuing the repayment of these outstanding installments through court action. With your indulgence, Chair, I can request that maybe Director of Finance may make a comment.
Yes, Jeff.
Thank you, Chair. Just as the TC has alluded to, last year when we saw that the performance was not okay, we had to call the loan beneficiaries. We had a discussion, and the meeting was very fruitful. And after that, we started noticing that they started making payments. I submit, Chair.
So that is an encouragement to us, and because we've been wondering why such things are happening. Until when you call for such a meeting, people start paying. But why do you delay to take such? This is 2024. We have the experience. People are not paying. Who is responsible? I know town clerk, a new person there. We are aware, but we are talking to your office. We may not entirely blame you, but it's perpetual succession. But there are people in those offices, town clerk, that are under your supervision. What do they do? They're taking CDF as a by the way function. No interest. When you call a meeting for these defaulters, they pay. Then you sit down again. Then you have this problem. This report, such a report, does not sit well for you as officers, meaning that you're not doing anything. But what lessons do you pick so that you can take actions that will speak that we have officers who are concerned, who are working to deal with these issues? We have seen the minister talk about it. We have seen the president even yesterday was talking about these issues. We're not following what he's talking about. So DF, city planning, these positions we have, what do we do? This is not a good report. So we should do more, as Honorable Kamondo has indicated. We can do more. Even on the bursaries, you have money sitting. DF, you are the one who checks the accounts. You share the town clerk. As of today, CDF, we have so much money. In bursaries, this is outstanding, or students' bursaries or training. And yet we have a list of those who are still on standby. Why can't we use the money? Or we do a variation, we take it to another project within the education sector. That's what your other councils are doing. So if you do that, everything will be running smooth. Whilst you'll be doing very well in the other areas, but this is not sitting very well for you. And also as a committee, we would like to, when we engage the ministry, to learn more. Maybe we have not taken time to check the act or on the loan administration. Who is responsible? Because I heard the town clerk say, we have engaged the bank so that they can do their action. Is it the bank? What is the role of the council? What is the role of the bank? So that we are able to do, as long as we don't deal with that, we'll be sitting expecting the bank to be pursuing the beneficiaries. So what is the role of the council? Are we doing our part? So we should be able to clear that. Even you as officers, take interest, do your part on the loans. Honorable Mwanza, there was a hand from Mwene first before you. Honorable Mwene.
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much. I had a query on the same, but I think it has been overtaken by events.
Okay, thank
If I can go to the next question, if you can.
Okay, go to the next question, then
Thank
I'll
you.
come to.
Page 17.
We got page 17?
Yes, Chair. Unaccounted for stores. Chair, I wanted to find out why the council was not able to avail the disposal of those documents of these particular activities during the time of audit. Where were they, and why is it now that they are found after the audit? Just that simple question, Chair.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Where were the documents during the time of audit?
Chair, thank you for that question from Honorable Mwene. With your indulgence, I will request that Director of Finance perhaps sheds more light on the particular concern.
Thank you, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. I'll start by regretting, Chair. The documents that were involved are the attendance list for those who benefited from the refreshments that we procured for the officers that were conducting the CDF feedback meetings. So, Chair, at that particular time, the documents were not attached to the vouchers, but they were kept by the Department of Planning. So after the audit, we requested for these attendance registers to prove that these people are the ones who benefited from that procurement of refreshments. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. And what happens during audit? Is it a one-day's event, or it is a process that you engage maybe for 4 or 5 days? For Livingstone, how many days did the audit take place?
Chair, I would like to say the truth. I think we had enough engagement from January because we are the first council to be audited in the province. However, Chair, it's regrettable that these documents were not availed at that particular time. I submit.
Since you have said you have accepted the problem that you caused, because what we expect, what we want is not us. You see, when you look at us, you'll be, they want this. This is a standard. Such queries are not supposed to be there. The auditors will come, they'll be with you for so many weeks. Produce, go to city planning, give us the attendance list, attach it. They will drop the audit, the query, I mean. But you allow this to make your report look as if you are not organized. Drop these queries before you appear here. Some of these are not supposed to be there. With your experience and the time that you have been there, with the qualifications, you know that these can be dropped. You are a management team. Bring that list. Then you attach it. It's dropped. So we don't expect such queries. We have graduated up to this stage. Dr. Mwanza.
Thank you. Page 2. The roadworks. On 27th of March, the authority allocated an amount of 3,572,244 for rehabilitation of 24.6 kilometers of township roads in 9 wards. The works were to be done using force account. Through the addendum, you have provided a table on how these roads in Livingstone are distributed. The table shows Dambwa Central, Dr. Muvitana, Dambwa Central, you planned to do 1 kilometer. Dr. Muvitana, 5.5 kilometers. Livuyu Ward, 4 kilometers. Maramba, and so on and so forth. There are roads done in 8 wards. Total number of kilometers, 24.6 kilometers. And the updated status of the works shows that you've, for example, Dambwa Central, you graded 1.5 kilometer, graveled 1.5 kilometer, compacted 1.5 kilometers. Dr. Muvitana graded 7 kilometers. The question I have on this table, first of all, is why is the linear length of the graded, then graveled, and compacted not consistent to the reported linear distances on page 2?
Town clerk, let's start from there.
Yes.
This is a bit technical, so Director Engineering.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I wish to state that there is an error in the additions or the submissions. You find that in the first column, for the planned kilometers, the total is 19.1, and the actual work on site that is to be done is standing at 30.4. What is done for graveling and compaction is 22.6 respectively. Therefore, giving a percentage, Chair, of the planned against executed to be 118%, and the planned against executed 74%, with Dr. Vitana standing at 64. I beg to submit the correction.
So when did you notice this difference in the...
Sadly, Chair, it's after submitting the addendum.
That's when you realized?
Yes, Chair.
So you should have done that before coming here?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Dr. Mwanza, you switch off your mic.
But Chair, this is an addendum that you have just submitted today. Meaning the original which they submitted, they realized there were some errors. That is why they submitted the addendum today. Even you look at the details of the distances of the roadworks that have been achieved is totally different from the original submission. Certain areas they did grade, but they never compacted. But this addendum, they have made the graveled section is also a compacted section. So how could an addendum, in fact, before we started even interacting, an addendum was announced. So this error now, I mean, this kind of mistake is now confusing the financials as reported by the AG office. So why Or probably, is this the correct position that I've submitted today?
Town clerk, before you respond, what Dr. Mwanza, switch off your mic. What Dr. Mwanza is explaining is what we experienced with one council in the name of Gwembe Council, where you bring a report speaking totally different position. Then there is another report that you are reading again, contradicting to what is there. So what Dr. Mwanza, on behalf of this committee, is stating is that you realized that this report, what is here, is not correct version. You did an addendum to explain the status and what transpired. Then again, our director engineering is speaking contrary or saying, correcting the addendum. So it is a challenge. What comes to us is you can see, all of you, that we have a problem. And whatever we are doing in these committees, as you present, if at all, what you are stating here is not what is on the ground, you are annoying the people of Livingstone. Because here, you are making a presentation, and you are annoying government, because you are deceiving the people. You are deceiving us, or deceiving the people. What we should do is always state what is exactly there. And where you have a challenge, say, here we are failing. We failed ourselves to do better. We can do better. Whatever you be saying will be reflective of what is on the ground. Because you shouldn't be just coming here for the purpose of, no, today the report was okay. But what is obtaining on the ground? Are these projects according to what you are explaining? The people there are watching us. So in this particular case, what Dr. Mwanza, on behalf of the committee, is a technical person on this committee, specifically a renowned doctor in civil engineering. So he understands. So he's very helpful to this committee, not only committee, to National Assembly and to this country. So when he's testing you, you should be able to tell, we are able to tell that here we're not doing very well. The best you do is say, no, we sincerely apologize for what has obtained. We can do better. Because what you'll be stating is what is obtaining on the ground. It's not good for us to start challenging each other. So I thought I should say that it has happened before. Town clerk.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to indicate that it wasn't our desire to mislead the committee, and in fact, it's regrettable that we only brought the addendum today. The intention of submitting an addendum was in the spirit of ensuring that what is brought before the committee is an updated status and factual as required by the committee. However, Chair, I wish to indicate that what the Assistant Director of Engineering Services was trying to highlight, Chair, were what I believe must be arithmetic corrections. However, in terms of the works having been done and progress on the ground, Chair, these are verifiable, and with your indulgence, at an appropriate time, Auditor General can be engaged in terms of coming to verify, both by way of visiting the ground as well as the documentation that is kept in the custody of the Engineering Services Department. Overall, Chair, ours was not meant to mislead or indeed give information that is not factual. Ours was meant to bring an addendum for purposes of bringing updated information. I submit, Chair.
Next question is, unless it's a different one.
It's Chair, with your indulgence. Where is the engineer? Because I've heard you saying assistant. Maybe that's where, also, I'm not saying the department is not, but where is the engineer?
Where is the Director Engineering?
Thank you, Chair. Sadly, Director Engineering, as well as 4 other officers, were involved in an accident early January of 2026 on their way into Chalimbana for cash for work, the revised cash for work. Unfortunately, he suffered a fracture on his leg and is currently recuperating.
No,
I
sorry,
submit, Chair.
sorry for that.
I sensed that. The question was not on the arithmetic. The question was a technical question which just needed you to say, okay, what is obtaining on the ground is this. I would have equally asked one on or towards the engineering, but then I'm restrained. Because I would have said on desks, page 12, appendix 9, yes, you terminated, and then...
Honorable member, you should ask, because the office is occupied.
They terminated and retendered, but they terminated who? The addendum is not, the appendix is not showing. They contracted who? It's not showing. Since we have this situation, maybe Chair, you'll be saying as we wind up.
No, I cannot wind up. We are still interacting. The town clerk is a new person. She's able to take up questions, and we are engaging. If we are going to say the assistant director is new, your mic off. The assistant director is sitting in, then we cannot go ahead and ask. Then we are not doing a disservice to the nation. They are occupying, that's why he is there. So the question is well placed. Whom did you terminate and whom did you contract later? Town clerk.
Thank you, Chair. With your indulgence, I can request the head procurement to shed more light as to which contractors were initially awarded and later which ones were given after the termination. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. In the first round, Chair, we engaged the 20 suppliers.
Local suppliers.
Local suppliers, Chair. Unfortunately, those 20, Chair, could not bring all the desks that we wanted. As a result, we terminated and engaged the 2. But those 2, Chair, equally failed to bring the old consignment. And finally, Chair, we engaged one more who brought the last consignment. So, Chair, that closed up the balance. I submit.
Honorable Mtelo.
Who?
Who are those? Do you have the list of names? The first one? Do you have
the 20? Do you have the 2? Do you have
the 1?
The 1.
Thank you, Chair. We may not have the full list. However, Chair, if you look on page 10, under 2023, serial numbers 1 to 3, some of the contractors are listed. And with your indulgence, Chair, that information can be supplied at an appropriate time. Thank you.
Okay, let's have that list. All of them should be given to Secretariat. Can I have Dr. Mwanza as we wind up?
Chair, to be submitted as well, the termination letters. We terminated. Then we contracted these suppliers. You cannot just bring no. With your indulgence, Chair.
You are right. So let's have the minutes of the CDF committee for the 20, the termination letters, and then later on another meeting which was called the minutes. We want the minutes, not the extracts. Minutes that you contracted the 2, then again the 1, or the stages that happened. Dr. Mwanza, as we wind up.
Page 6
Page 6.
of the main report. We're looking at total unspent funds under community projects. By the end of the fiscal year, there was 1,731,708 kwacha 40 ngwe as unspent funds as at 31st December 2024. And the action taken is that management has since spent the reconciled unspent funds as at 30th April 2025. And we are being referred to Appendix 5 to show how the 1,731,000 was spent. We go to Appendix 5. The first is an account statement from Atlas Mara indicating opening balance of 106,000 and a closing balance of 9,284. The question I have on this attachment is what is this account statement trying to communicate in terms of responding to the query on page 6? The second one on the same Appendix 5 is you have submitted a ledger, you have attached a ledger, which I guess is trying to explain the expenditure of 1.73 million, 1,700,000 kwacha. Now, one of the spending items, the fourth on 28th January 2025, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, the fifth row from the bottom. An amount of 476,990 kwacha 17 ngwe was paid to Zamwawe Logistics Limited for details of fuel for road grading and graveling in Dr. Muvitana 2024 projects. This payment was made on 28 January. But the road contract the road works in Muvitana ward, according to your new submission on page 4, the addendum, the start date was 6th May 2025. But you made a payment of 476,990 in January, 5 months before starting that project. What is your explanation on these two queries?
Through the town clerk to Director Finance and Director Engineering, you can help the town clerk. You paid in January when the start day for the roadworks was 5 months after, in May. What is the explanation?
Thank you, Chair. I will respond to the first question regarding the statement, why the statement is doing there. Chair, we attached this statement just to show the committee that the funds were used, because the committee considers the external document as the best evidence as opposed to what we generate. So we attached both the account statement for community projects and also a bank statement just to show the position in terms of finances.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Let them answer the second one. Then you come up, Dr. Mwanza, with a follow-up. Director Engineering.
Thank you, Chair. So we only started works in May, even after they paid in January, because the equipment was being used in other wards. So we only have Elini equipment, and that's the reason why we only commenced in Dr. Vitana in May.
This is council equipment.
Yes, it's council equipment.
So you paid for that ward in January.
Yes.
You paid. Who did you pay? How do you pay for these?
Okay,
Zamawa
so,
is what? Town clerk. Director Engineering. Your mic should be.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Zamwave is a filling station in Livingstone. It's an operator of a filling station in Livingstone. Okay. So the works for the roads were being done under force account as reported, and the equipment that was being utilized is Livingstone City Council equipment. Chair, as submitted by Assistant Director Engineering Services, the fleet of equipment at Livingstone is not only lean, but also quite old. That is why you see that for a contract to undertake roadworks across 20 wards is taking us more than 24 months or 15 months or 18 months because of other matters as well as public health relying on the same equipment and also weather issues, Chair.
Is that a prudent decision to pay? Then the works are done 5 months after. Your money is tied in that company. They're getting the benefit of that money. Is that just for the interest of everyone? Is that prudent way of doing things? Or you do pay as and when you know that the machinery is ready? That's when we release the money, because now we know that we are set for this ward. Or you just pay 400 and something thousand, then the filling station is using that money, then it's 5 months later. That's when you go and ask, we want our fuel we paid in January. Town clerk.
Thank you, Chair. In hindsight, definitely that is not a prudent way in which that particular project should have been managed. And we can only undertake, Chair, to improve.
Well, the same. We are winding up. Okay. Okay, comment to Dr. Moore.
Say comment on the same. I think town clerk, it was just right for you to say what you have said now. That I think it was wrong, because you can't give your money for those people to be doing business. They are making orders during these 5 months, and they are making money out of your money. It's not prudent.
Thank you for that. Dr. Mwanza, as we wind up, Honorable, please let me speak through the chair, Honorable Member.
Chair, through you. Hope you...
I didn't give you that opportunity, but now I've given you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for protecting me. Hope Livingstone is planning of procuring new equipment, because you are saying the equipment is old. But the works, and it's in Livingstone.
Last one, Dr. Mwanza.
So it's just a comment on the same. You know, these road works, there is a costing per ward, as detailed on the appendix. For example, the Dambwa Central Road, which was 2 kilometers, the amount spent was 204,150 kwacha 95. Then the Dr. Movitana Road, it was 688,360. The Liwuyu Road, they spent on that equipment, they spent 509,155. So on, and the total expenditure comes to 3,194,735 kwacha. Broken down as per the cost in each ward when the equipment is in that particular ward, the consumables that you spend on the equipment is well tabulated in the appendix, in the addendum that you have submitted.
As you summarize.
Why, from your ledger, can you just indicate from your ledger that you have submitted on Appendix 5, just show one of these expenditures being recorded that you spent even for Dambwa Central
or Dr. Muvia.
Dr. Muviana is the one that you spent, but you spent 5 months before the equipment was in that area. How do we justify this expenditure in each ward without a record of payment related to that ward?
So, town clerk, there is only one expenditure which has a narration that speaks to the expenditure on the road. The rest, 3-point-something million spent, there's no narration in your ledger to say that this was a payment to such. Only one. How do you account for the 3 million on that ledger?
Thank you, Chair. I would attempt to respond, and where I leave out anything, I'll request through your indulgence that perhaps Finance Director gives a comment. Chair, with regard to the observation by Honorable Dr. Mwanza, that is an accurate observation. Chair, the ledger that appears on page 71 is speaking to unspent funds as at the close of 31st December 2024. Chair, as we have submitted in our memorandum, as well as I think as we have been responding to clarifications, we have indicated that these roadworks were being undertaken during the course of 2025 because of several factors that affected our implementation. Chair, regrettably, we don't have a ledger that speaks to that, but with your indulgence and authority, same can be prepared and submitted through Secretariat.
Thank you very much. I think I will start from there. My comments, my just and concluding comments is that, you see, these resources, when you hear about 3-point-something million spent on roads, you just look back to what the President directed. He says, here is the money, 3 million, to be spent on fuels and for the roads. And when people of Dambwa or people of Livingstone, they hear that you spend 3 million, they want to see the reflection of the 3 million on the ground. So the worry that you should have as officers, whatever you are submitting today, having spent, if the people there are saying this did not happen, then you have problems. There is one council in Southern Province that appeared, I will not mention. Immediately after appearing here, they were giving false information. There was a roadblock by the community to say, can you drop there, don't come here again. That was not a good thing, but you see, some people, this is the money the government has given to them. And they are aware that this good government has given them money for roads, money for all these projects that are benefiting them. And if this money is not reaching them, they will rise against you. So whether the ledger is for 2025, that's when you implemented, but the people there, did they see the reflection or the benefit of the 3 million in those words we are talking about? The councillors are watching, they are listening. The mayor is watching and listening. Is it correct that we spend that money? And if that is the case, us as a committee, we are an oversight committee, we shall be happy. But if you are giving a report for the purpose of just clearing yourselves, then you are not helping yourselves, you are not helping the people of Livingstone, you are not helping the people of Zambia, you are not helping the government that is doing so much to change the face of this country. So I wanted to start from there. Director Engineering, you are the director. The other one is indisposed. You are the director. You occupy that office, all of you. Town clerk, you are a new person. but you have accounted yourself very well, responding to what you have. So you occupy that office by virtue of perpetual succession. You take up the roles. The observations that we have, some of them, they indicate to delayed implementation of community projects such as roadworks and inadequate funding. I've spoken about this. Weak planning. The weak planning, director planning, city planning, director engineering, you can't pay a filling station, then you only draw the money or use the money 5 months or 6 months later. There's no prudence in that. These are public resources. They could have been used somewhere in Livingstone to benefit the people. That is not good at all. That should not repeat itself. The other issue is the fraudulent disbursement of empowerment grants to personal bank accounts, reflecting serious breakdown in internal controls. Some of us who have experience in Livingstone, there was also a fraud. Every year if you check Livingstone, there's always a fraud that points to council employees. Your record will show clearly. Honorable Mnunda, are we on point? Yes, directors and what? What is the problem with Livingstone? Why should officers indulge themselves in such things? It exposes you the internal controls. Do we have the auditor here? Yes. The auditor, you are not doing much. All the transactions, pre-audit and post-audit, it doesn't need the external auditors to come and expose these things. So why is Livingstone, town clerk, this is your issue now. Why should you have fraud in Livingstone on annual basis every time you have cases of fraud at Livingstone Council? It's not fair for the people of Livingstone. That means director finance, internal audit system, you have to check yourselves. All transactions should be checked. You know, some of these things you see, I know we are a big council. You can tell in the council. You can tell that those in that department and that department that handle such things, their lifestyle, you can not tell them, but you can, it's a red flag that can tell you, let me check. You will not find the office assistants indulging in fraud. You know which category or which grade of officers or departments should be of your interest to check. So the weaknesses there have been exposed. Weak financial management, poor utilization of available funds. You had funds meant for skills development seated in your account without passing them to those who are on the waiting list. That was unfair. Should be checking what is sitting, what vote is not being utilized. Once money is coming from the means of local government, you know that let's give these because we have not exhausted this vote. So those are areas that you should do. Take interest, town clerk, director finance, internal audit, city planning. Failure to operationalize completed facility. There was a police station that you built. It took long because you had not bought furniture for the same. So as you do planning, city planner and your team there of planners, once you are doing a project, you should know that this classroom block should come with desks. Buy desks. So that once it's completed, the desks are there, then it's operationalized. Weak monitoring of grants, loans, I've spoken about this. This issue of loans, town clerk. Loans, take interest. Persuade the people. Take up your role. If you are not sure, engage the ministry. What is our role in terms of loan administration? What is the role of the bank? So that you don't wait, you are seated there thinking the bank will be doing it. Only when you are visited by external auditors, no, we didn't do very much. Let's write notices to the... We were happy to say that once you engage them, they are able to pay. So continue engaging them. have quarterly plans or monthly plans of engaging them. It pays so that you can give the money that will come from them to other people. Weak accountability systems, including unaccounted for stores. This was highlighted by Honorable Mwene, those weaknesses. Audit is a process. It's not an event, one-day event, no. During the process, drop some of these queries. To be fair to you, Livingstone, this is a fair report. This is a fair report. So it's the first time in a long time that you have a fair report like this one for Livingstone. Now, some of these queries, you should have made it very clean. Drop them. Unaccounted for stores, those who have passed that level. We don't need to have those. So clean it up by dropping those queries that you can drop. Where you have your auditors, you know that they've raised an issue on you go to the bank, get a list. This is the latest of the what, so that the auditors can take note of that. Otherwise, it's a fair report. You go back and do your best. With that said, I think I'm very firm on this seat that I can say you have done fairly well. You are city number 1 in the southern province, together with Choma. Choma is number 1 now, but you are also number 1 because you are the tourist capital of Zambia. Let the people of Livingstone see the value of the CDF. Let them see the value of your management. Bring change to that council, town clerk. Yes, people have been doing very well, but you can do better. With your management team, work as a team. Teamwork is what is going to help you. Involve those juniors of yours there. Check them. That's the accountability you can do so that you know you are in charge of the council. With that said, I would say thank you so much. The immunity is withdrawn. As you go back, you are now on your own. Thank you. Traveling Mrs.
Thank you, Chair.
Well, there you have it. Livingstone City Council, led by the town clerk, Ms. Sombo Kawilila, have made their appearance before the Committee on Local Government Accounts. That's for the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund for the financial year ended 31st December 2024. And just now, we do stand by for Pemba Town Council, which is expected to make a submission before the committee. Keep watching Parliament Television.